The Cowboys return home this week for a couple key conference games. Coming up on Inside Cowboy Basketball, we recap the Iowa State game and round one of Bedlam. Plus, we go front and center with longtime Cowboy announcer Tom Dorado.
This is my school. I love this school. I have bias here, but this is the best school in the state of Oklahoma. No question about it. The greatest people, the greatest fans. So I have a great passion for it, especially for basketball.
And finally, we preview a road trip to Boulder. All that and much more coming up right now as we go inside Cowboy Basketball.
Hit it, hit it. Hit that, Kenny. Hit that, Joe. Hit that shot when he gets there.
2 national championships, 6 Final Fours, 17 conference championships. From Iba to Eddie and now Sean. From 1938 to today, it's been home to the rowdiest arena in the country. Join us on Eddie's Sutton Court as we go inside Cowboy Basketball with head coach Sean Sutton. It all starts now.
Welcome to Inside Cowboy Basketball. I'm Rob Labor. The Cowboys closed out the week with a win over Iowa State right here on Saturday night. Let's head to the locker room for post-game reaction on the victory over the Cyclones.
I told myself that I was kind of in the slump and that I just got to bounce back, and get myself out there because I know my team needs me. So whenever I really don't play as good, or anybody on our team don't play as good as they're capable of, it affects our team and it kind of takes a little bit away from our team, and we need to win all these games coming up.
Now for more on the game, let's join Tom Dorado and head coach Sean Sutton. Guys.
All right, thank you very much, Rob, and with me, head coach Sean Sutton. And Sean, what a difference. This was a game, a tale of two halves.
Yeah, the first half was about as poor play offensive end, I think, all year long. Defensively, we were good enough, but certainly I thought we were really sluggish. We settled for too many jump shots. We weren't getting the ball inside. As a result, only had 17 points going into the half.
Certainly very important to have Terrell Harris step up, come off the bench. At one point, he hit 11 points in a row, and that's about all we had going offensively in that first session.
Well, he kept us in the first half. We could have been down a lot worse. We could still have been down 6. We could have been down 12, 14 points if he wasn't out there playing at a high level. And then second half, he continued to play well, had 21 points. We really came out of halftime with a lot more energy. Got on a 12-0 run right off the bat. One of the things I thought was really important is that we get control of the tempo. First half, they did a great job of slowing the game down, making it a possession game, a half-court game. But after we were able to get the lead, we were able to get some things going in transition. Defensively, we probably played about as well over a 40-minute stretch as we have all season long. We defended well. We guarded the 3. We only shot 4 for 16 and did a good job on Taylor still. Well, I was probably on him about as hard as I've been on him all season long at halftime because this was such an important game for a lot of reasons. Number one being the anniversary of the plane crash and what those 10 people meant to this program. And then the fact that if we're going to have a chance to win the Big 12, a chance to finish towards the top, you've got to win your home games. And this was really a must-win, in my opinion. These type of games you have to win on your home court. So I was happy that we came back and played a lot better the second half.
Before we leave this segment, and again, you just touched upon it, but I couldn't think of a better gift for those 10 people so close to us who lost their lives and left us long before their time. They had to be smiling tonight to see a win in Gallagher-Iba Arena.
I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were really proud of the way our guys competed and the way we played the second half. All those guys were really special to this program. We all miss them. It was a terrible tragedy, and the pain and is never going to quite go away. But they're always going to be very special in our hearts, and hopefully they enjoyed the second half.
Sean, congratulations on win number 18. More importantly, 4-2 in conference play. We'll see you a little bit.
Okay, Tom.
That's head coach Sean Sutton. When we come back, assistant coach James Dickey will join us, and we're going to talk about that big win over Oklahoma. But for now, Rob, it's yours.
Thanks, guys. Well, coming up, we take a look back at round one of Bedlam. That's next when Inside Cowboy Basketball continues.
Inside Cowboy Basketball is brought to you in part by Arby's, your Central Oklahoma Honda 5 dealers, Oklahoma Farm Bureau, O'Reilly Auto Parts, your Oklahoma Ford dealers, Conoco and Phillips 66, and your Oklahoma Chevy dealers. You're watching Inside Cowboy Basketball with head coach Sean Sutton.
On Monday night, Game 1 of this year's Bedlam series certainly lived up to the hype. The Cowboys used a great home crowd here at Gallagher-Iba Arena and some stifling defense in the final seconds to defeat the Sooners in front of a national TV audience. For more, let's head to the locker room and post-game reaction.
I mean, I knew they was a good team. I mean, I think they last game out, they beat Beta by like 20 points, and, you know, they coming in thinking, well, they only beat them by 3. So I knew they were going to come hard, and then the Bedlam, that even put a little bit more spark up on them. I mean, we had them down 7, then they got back within 1, then we had them down 7 again. I mean, we were just trying to put them away, but they just kept coming back. So the big thing we did was, you know, we just kept the lead and then let them get back on top after we took it.
Now for more on the game, let's join Tom Dorado and assistant coach James Dickey. Guys?
Well, thanks, Rob. Indeed, just another Bedlam night at the office, and joining us this week on this segment of the show, always glad to see him, assistant coach James Dickey. And James, you celebrate every win in this Bedlam series, no matter how it looks, just as long as you got on the W side, you're happy.
Well, you're right, Tom. It's such a special game for our program, a special game for our institution and fans, for both institutions. And it's a big game, and I thought the Sooners came in here and played really well. They got off to a great start, but what a great atmosphere we had. Monday night national television audience. Our students had camped out for 4 days in rather chilly temperatures, and that just tells you the great support that we had. And they were certainly fired up when they got in Gallagher-Iba and made for such a great 6th man for us. It's one of the best home courts in the country. We didn't defend quite as well as we would like to, and didn't score offensively like we want to, but the bottom line is that we came out with a W at the end. That's most important.
Adjustment was made. All of a sudden, Marcus is on Carter in the second half. J.O. did a great job on Neal. Pretty much took those 2 top scorers for Oklahoma out of the mix, and points were hard to come by for OU.
The one thing about Carter and Neal, both of them had outstanding first halves offensively. In the second half, Coach Sean challenged our guys, and then we made a defensive adjustment, putting Marcus on Carter. I thought he did an outstanding job in the second half. And then James Zahn played much better defense on Neal in the second half. He didn't let him have the open looks. Now, he got some shots, but they were contested. And I thought J.O. really did a nice job. Those were big adjustments for us. And then Coach Sean told our players there's always an X factor in games like this before the game, and for this one it happened to be David Mons, and we were really proud. He played consistently like we thought he could, having a double-double. He rebounded the ball well, hit some shots for us, and that's what a senior's supposed to do.
It wasn't exactly like J.O. and Bogan had horrible nights, but we've grown to ride those 20-plus point nights from those 2 guys every time out. But you mentioned Mons. Eton stepped up, and Cooper. Those guys kind of filled in the gaps a little bit, and those were big performances for us.
Well, Byron really played well. I thought he was active defensively and certainly scoring the 17 points in the game. But we're much better when he is active, both offensively and defensively. When he pushes the ball hard in transition, he creates opportunities for us. And then when he's up defensively, putting pressure on the opposing point guard, that really helps our defense. Kenny continues to improve. He was sick about a week ago, and he's getting his strength back, and he's just going to get better and better.
The defense was much better in the second half, really got after Oklahoma, made it tough for them to find shots, much less make them. Also, the half-court offense kind of staggered around a little bit. These are 2 things that obviously got a lot of work this week.
I think both teams deserve a lot of credit in that ball game defensively, because it was hard to get baskets. Oklahoma was very good defensively. We certainly take a lot of pride in our defense. And then we kind of got our offense going there late in the second half where we got up 9 points. And then we had a series of plays where we did not get over that 10-point barrier, which is always so important psychologically. When you have a 9-point lead, you have a chance to get it in double figures. You want to do that. And then all of a sudden, we leave a couple of people, and then Oklahoma hits some threes, and before you know it, we're right back in the they're right back in the game. It's a 1-point game, and we got to make free throws down the stretch.
Well, round 1 of Bedlam goes to the Cowboys this season. Of course, that was the start of an important 5-game stretch. We'll talk about that and a lot more a little later in the show. But we got some great email questions for James to answer this week, and we'll get right to those. That's coming up next.
But first, a little trivia. Which Cowboy holds the record for the highest free throw percentage in a season? Is it A, Darwin Alexander, B, John Lucas, or C, Mark Tucker? The answer a little later as Inside Cowboy Basketball continues in a moment. You're watching Inside Cowboy Basketball with head coach Sean Sutton. Get your questions ready. It's time to ask Coach.
A couple good questions for us here. And this is really, I have to admit, wasn't an email. I ran into this student following the game, and he said, could you put this on the show or tell the coaches? So, Mark, over in Tulsa, here's your comment. It's a good one. He said, thanks for letting us celebrate with the players after the win over Oklahoma. That meant a lot to us.
Well, Mark, our student body is so important. They're such an integral part of the Gallagher-Iba experience. We have great fans. They're loyal. They're enthusiastic. We touched on the students camping out 4 days before the Oklahoma game. But Coach Sutton, I saw him grab the players after we shook the Oklahoma team's hand and wanted them to go by and not only thank the students but thank the fans, because those students are right there. They're cheering. We see them as we come in and out of Gallagher-Iba in preparation for our games, and we appreciate them so much. There's no better place, no better home court advantage than right here in Gallagher-Iba Arena. So, Mark, thanks to you and all the great students and all our wonderful fans who helped us win that game on Monday night.
Charles from Bartlesville sends in, how did you feel seeing a new face on that OU bench this year?
The changing of guard on both ends, Tom, when you looked at Coach Sean taking over for Coach Sutton and then Coach Capel taking over for Coach Sampson. But this is such a special rivalry, a big game for our institution, and we're so pleased and happy for Coach Sean and the job that he's done, and we have great respect for Coach Capel. He's really did a great job with his team. They're tough defensively, and I thought they came in and played very well in a tough environment.
We appreciate all the emails every week. Big stack to go through. It's tough to pick the two. Well, you keep sending them in, and hopefully we'll get to yours as early as next week. You can do that by sending it to AskCoach@fox23.com. Some more valuable practice time and a trip to the Rockies. That's next week, and we'll take a look at the game at Boulder. But first, Rob, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Tom. And speaking of Tom, he's going to relive some of his favorite moments from behind the microphone. That's next when we return to Inside Cowboy Basketball.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Desmond Mason, and you're watching Inside Cowboys Basketball.
Now to that trivia question. Which Cowboy holds the record for the highest free throw percentage in a season? If you guessed Mark Tucker, you guessed correctly. Tucker shot 91% from the charity stripe in 1978.
Last Saturday, longtime announcer Tom Dorado called his 900th Cowboy game. Now, Tom has seen a lot of OSU wins in his 30 years behind the mic, and he shares some of his favorite moments this week as we go front and center with Tom Dorado.
Front and Center is brought to you by your Oklahoma Chevy dealers.
Joining me now, I think everybody knows this guy, Tom Dorado, color analyst for the Cowboy Radio Network. And Tom, congratulations on the milestone 900 games at Texas A&M. What does it mean to you?
Well, it means I liked 899 and 901 better than I liked 900 because the 900th was a game that certainly didn't go the way we wanted it to. But, you know, seriously, it has been a great career here at Oklahoma State. But I've been so blessed to be here during some of the great moments of this school, not only in basketball but football as well. But basketball has just been golden since Eddie Sutton got here. So many big memories, going to the Final Four twice, the Oklahoma-type games that we saw just a couple of nights ago. Just all kinds of games that you can look back on. But to me, the highlight, Rob, is the people, the coaches, the players that I've gotten to know over the years and maintain those friendships and those relationships. That's what this is all about.
It seems to come very easily to you when people listen to you on the radio. You can just tell that it comes through that you have a real passion for the university, for the game of basketball. Is that what you try to portray on the air every single broadcast? Because that's really what comes through to the fans, I think.
That's nice of you to say, and I hope that is, because this is my school. I love this school. This is with all, I have bias here, but this is the best school in the state of Oklahoma. No question about it. The greatest people, the greatest fans. So I have a great passion for it, especially for basketball. But I enjoy the relationships with the players. So you have a good rapport with them. Even now, when they come back, we visit. It's just like it was when I was interviewing for a pregame. So we have a good time, and hopefully that comes across. I appreciate you saying that. That's nice.
And I know the university appreciates all the work that you've done for them and just what an ambassador you've been for this university. And they honored you at halftime of the 899th game. That was here against Texas in that triple overtime classic. What did that mean to you for the university to kind of recognize your accomplishments?
Well, it was the university in conjunction with Host Communications. Joe Meredith, I've said this 1,000 times, I'm so grateful for what he did. That was such a nice honor, such a nice observation that they made for me. It was a halftime that I'll remember for quite some time. I will cherish that for a long time. I got a nice ball as it was, and Joe did just excellent, and I appreciate him thinking about me at a time when it meant a lot.
Is there maybe a couple of games or a couple of moments that stick out in your mind that you'll always remember?
Well, the St. Joe's game, obviously, that got us into the Final Four for the second time. But the first trip to the Final Four, it just still is just like it happened last year. It was a culmination of a great season. We had some highs, we had some lows in that season, but the perseverance of the coaching staff and the players. There are some people in our business who coach and play and do radio and write who never go to the Final Four, and I've been able to go twice, and that's all a credit to the Sutton family and what these players and coaches have done before, and those are the things that I'll remember about basketball for sure.
What do you want to say to the fans, the people that have supported you and this program just over all these years?
Well, it's been my pleasure, and hopefully I've brought some pleasure, some satisfaction to the people who have listened. But I've always given my best for you. Hopefully it's come out that way. Maybe it hasn't, but when I sit down, I'm prepared. I think as well as I can be. I try to give you a visual of what's going on. But I've met so many great people, so many fans who have been so nice to email me and call me after this 900 presentation.
Tom Dorado, color analyst for Cowboy Basketball, 900 games. And that does mean he's getting old, but he's still very, very good at what he does.
Real old.
After the break, we preview a road trip to Colorado. That's next on Inside Cowboy Basketball with head coach Sean Sutton.
This is Joey Grimm, and you're watching Inside Cowboy Basketball with Sean Sutton.
Inside Cowboy Basketball is brought to you in part by Arby's, your Central Oklahoma Honda 5 dealers, Oklahoma Farm Bureau, O'Reilly Auto Parts, your Oklahoma Ford dealers, Conoco and Phillips 66, and your Oklahoma Chevy dealers.
Next week will be a light one for the Cowboys. They played just one game Saturday in Boulder. Let's rejoin Tom Dorado and assistant coach James Dickey as they look ahead to the Buffaloes. Guys?
Thanks again, Rob and James. As you look at the trip to Colorado, it's a unique place, to say the least, but it brings a whole new set of challenges, maybe off the court. The altitude may or may not be a real thing, but it certainly is a thing you have to deal with, and depth on a team certainly makes a big, big difference.
Our team really played well the last time that we went to Boulder. It was James On's first start. We had a terrific game offensively. Didn't play particularly well defensively, but really shot the ball well and got up and down the court well, and our team's in very good condition, and we've got some guys that are really contributing off the bench. When you look at Kenny Cooper, is continuing to really play well for us. Inside, David Mons comes off, even though Kenny's starting some. He's done a great job. Tyler Hatch has come in and played well. So that always helps when you go on the road, and certainly we need to play better when we go on the road. Execute better, be a little more disciplined offensively, and take better care of the basketball.
Like most teams, Colorado plays much better at home, and they've got Richard Roby, a guy who could fill it up any night.
Well, that's where you start with. When you look at the Buffaloes, you got to start with Roby. Ricardo's teams have always played very hard. I know it's been a difficult situation for him and his staff. He's already announced his resignation at the end of the year, but his teams continue to play hard. I watched some of the game against Texas. Roby can really score. They've got some other young players who can really fill it up from the perimeter. And then anytime you go on the road, you have really got to make sure that you're ready to play, and that's something that we're going to be looking forward to as an opportunity to get a road win.
Another one of those key ball games in this 5-game stretch. James, thanks for joining us in this segment. Appreciate seeing you as always.
Thanks, Tom. It's great to be on with you.
Well, that's all we have from here, Rob. It's all yours.
Thanks very much, guys. That's all the time we have for this week, but be sure to join us next time as we continue to follow the Cowboys through Big 12 play and hopefully toward a conference title. For Tom Dorado, head coach Sean Sutton, and the entire OSU coaching staff, I'm Rob Laber, and we'll see you next time.